And he said there he wasted himself with wife living. That means he had no care. He didn't care how he did it. He had no respect. He wasn't thinking about tomorrow. He was only living for today. He was not planning for his future. He was just making just rash, quick decisions without thinking about the results. See, every decision we make is a reflection of our thoughts. Whatever decision we make has a time.
Yes, it does.
See, he did